Imagine driving down a completely empty road after midnight. The fog is thick, your headlights barely cut through the darkness, and the only sound is the hum of your engine. Then, from somewhere behind you, a voice whispers your name. You check the rearview mirror. The back seat is empty. You are completely alone. Nestled deep in a rural stretch far from city lights, this isolated road has carried a dark reputation for decades. Locals refuse to drive it after sundown. The road cuts through dense woodland, and according to regional folklore, it was once a route used during a period of violent conflict where several travelers never reached their destinations. Over generations, the stories passed from family to family, each one carrying the same unsettling detail. The road calls out to you by name. A truck driver passing through the area in the late hours described pulling over after hearing what he was certain was a woman's voice pronounce his full name clearly from the back of his cab. He stepped out, checked every corner of the vehicle, and found nothing. When he returned to the road, his dashboard camera footage showed a faint shadow moving along the tree line that disappeared within seconds. He never drove that route again. A college student driving home alone after a late shift reported something slightly different. She heard her name twice, each time softer than the last, almost as if something was retreating rather than approaching. She described the voice as familiar, like someone she once knew. What disturbed her most was not the sound itself, but the feeling that followed. An overwhelming urge to stop the car and step outside into the darkness. She resisted and drove without stopping until she reached the nearest town. Perhaps the most documented case involves a group of paranormal investigators who set up audio recording equipment along a half-mile stretch of the road. During a 3-hour session, their recordings captured what sound analysts later described as low-frequency vocal patterns that resembled human speech. On 2 separate recordings, a name belonging to one of the investigators appeared to be spoken clearly. No human source was identified within range of the equipment at the time of the recordings. Scientists and psychologists offer a grounded perspective on experiences like these. Infrasound, which refers to sound frequencies below the range of normal human hearing, can be generated naturally by wind moving through dense tree corridors or across uneven terrain. These frequencies are known to cause feelings of unease, hallucinations, and in some cases, auditory distortions where the brain attempts to construct familiar patterns from meaningless noise. Sleep deprivation, which is common among late-night drivers, further amplifies the brain's tendency to hear meaningful sounds where none exist. The phenomenon is called pareidolia of sound, and it is a well-documented psychological response. Science offers a reasonable framework, and yet it does not fully account for why the experiences on this particular road share such a specific and consistent detail. Across different decades, different people, and different circumstances, the whisper always says a name, not a random sound, not a vague murmur, a name. Whether that points to something atmospheric, psychological, or something else entirely is a question that remains genuinely open. The road still sits there in the dark, quiet and waiting, the same as it always has been. The fog still rolls in after midnight. The trees still line both sides without a gap. So here is the only question that really matters. Would you drive this road alone after midnight, knowing what you now know?